Hi, welcome back to the channel that can save your marriage, Relationships Rebuilt. Today I'm going to talk about getting in front of arguments, of getting in front of really conflicts which can actually tank your marriage. And so what I'm going to be talking about is how you can get in front of the storm so that you can enter any sort of area of conflict feeling calm, getting your point across, and in a way that won't make your marriage into a war zone. Okay, so before I start, don't forget to subscribe, and there are plenty more tips coming on this channel. Okay, let's get going. Point one, you need to choose your battles very wisely. And by that, I mean not take every disagreement into a very big arena. So think about what really at core troubles you about your relationship with your husband, the things that niggle. There can be small little things that then become very large, small little explosions that become a nuclear bomb. So what you want to do there is really, small things, think about really how important they are to you and then plan. So there, if it crops up in advance, you're feeling angry and resentment, go on to point two, which is you probably should spend, 15 minutes contemplating quietly, giving yourself a chance to cool down about something that has really triggered you. Because you may want to just think, that's it, I'm going to deal with it now. He's not listening to me. Likelihood is, if you take that approach, he's either going to shut down on you, or he's going to react with a testosterone filled reaction. So I'm not saying don't stand your ground. I'm saying retreat, plan, and move forward 15 to 30 minutes after you really get that feeling inside that just like, oh, I can't take him anymore. Okay, that's really, I've segued into part three, which is plan it. In planning it, it's really thinking of the time to actually bring it up. It's something my wife really taught me. I was more of a reactive type of person. It was more in the area of dealing with my daughter, who our personalities used to clash, and I couldn't deal with the way she spoke to people, and I used to steam in there, and it wasn't not something I should have done in retrospect. But ironically, my daughter did actually take on board that she was triggering me. But I've learned to retreat, shut down for a bit, and then come back to it. My wife and I generally, we don't argue, so I can't talk about that. But with clients, I've seen a pattern where smaller things have just not been expressed in the right way. And that brings me into point number four, which is keeping it simple. It's better to try and condense how you're feeling into 3 to 5 sentences. If you need to, either record it on a phone or scribble out, the things that resent you, boil it down, because when you look at it or listen to it, if you're using a newfangled device, you'll probably see that not everything on that list is really worth getting involved with. It's not important enough to the core issue of what's upsetting you. So then we get to the point, okay, you've got your plan, you've got your sentences together, you've figured out which battle you're going to fight, and then it comes to, okay, the delivery. Ideally, your delivery, and there's a clue there, which is I. Use I whenever you can. The way you spoke to me then, I felt demeaned. I felt ignored. Try and avoid actually drawing the point of pain into the conversation. And by that I mean, use I. This is how it makes me feel. Okay, I accept that you have got a point of view, and I want you to speak your truth with me, but man, I feel hurt. Use that and try and keep to those statements, because if you go on the attack, he'll just defend and maybe attack you, and then you're not going to shut it down. And so I'm really, again, I'm moving ahead of myself because I love this subject, not because I enjoy people seeing in misery, but I love the fact that these techniques actually work, and it's what I teach in my course to save marriages, and it does work. So that's why I keep running ahead of my own point. So bear with me, because I'm coming to the heat of the moment. How do you bring someone down from, that point where you're just bashing heads together? And what are you going to do about it? Well, the first thing is that you may not be able to deal with it. You may not have the answers. you may just both have to feel mad angry and maybe go to bed feeling angry. But what you should do is agree a time to come back to it when you're both got calmer heads, when you are just thinking, okay, I really love this person, I don't want this to keep occurring, so let's come back to it. We've had some rest, the hurt is still there, have a cuddle and sleep on it. It's sometimes it's better. You can't always go to bed resolving any issue, and because also you're carrying forward those feelings into your sleep, you may well get a bad night's sleep as a consequence, and that is not a good thing. It's not going to help you when you have to face in the morning over a cup of coffee and say, okay, about last night. So as I say, the second point is, when you do come back to the argument, try and make it solutions based. Try and say, okay, this keeps occurring, I've got an idea. So I'll give you an example. I was dealing with a client the other day whose principal argument with her husband, they're both film buffs, is which film to go and see. And the night out turned into a nightmare because they were literally parked outside the cinema complex, and they sat there for probably 30 minutes arguing about which film they were going to see. And my client wife finally sort of won, which turned into not a victory because they missed the start of the film. They didn't go in, and then basically they weren't speaking for over a day. So what I suggested to her is, listen, before you even plan a date, have a backup plan, have a contingency, run it by him. Most of the time that will work, all right? Because if you don't have a plan, when things go awry, hurt, emotions, disappointment, it all kicks in, and then boom, the nuclear bomb I spoke about earlier. And finally, humour. It's very difficult to stay angry at someone who is sending themselves up. And I know from experience that with men, when a woman suddenly stops a course of action and then makes a self-deprecating joke about herself, sending herself up like, oh my God, I just always come out with this crazy stuff, it's very tough for a man to stay mad. And even if you're still feeling a little bit hurt, think about the goal. The goal is for the both of you to love each other and to come back to that love language that you both understand, so that it's not lost in translation. So I hope that this is a good guide to you of how to get in front. Just to recap, have a plan, think about how you're going to deliver the message that you are upset about, and then when it comes to these heat of the moment strategies, you can go to bed angry, but always make a plan of how you're going to react. And if you have to write it down and even rehearse it, I do rehearsals with clients all the time, and they're prepared, and it makes for a much better conflict resolution situation. So there we have it. I hope that this has been informative and a guide to how a wife can really get in front of conflict with a husband, and then when it happens in the heat of the moment, how to deal with it. I teach this 24/7, 365, and I apply these principles, and I'm here to save marriages. I'm here to save your marriage. So do subscribe to the channel, reach out to me in the comments below, tell me your best technique for dealing with an argument with your husband. Stay tuned to the channel, hit the bell so that you get notifications, because I'm doing a lot of informative videos right now, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. The next exciting installment of Relationships Rebuilt, because they can be, and the time to do it is now. Take care, and I'll see you next time.